Juliet. Where the hell have you been? What? Nothing? I say, heat flashing through my body. What do you mean, nothing? Kenji says, nearly stepping on my heels as I attempt to outspace him. I've been waiting down here for almost 2 hours. I know, I'm sorry. He grabs my shoulder, spins me around, takes one look at my face and... Oh, gross, Jay, what the hell? What? I widen my eyes, all innocence, even as my face inflames. Kenji glares at me. I clear my throat. I told you to ask him a question. I did! Jesus Christ. Kenji rubs an agitated hand across his forehead. Do time and place mean nothing to you? He narrows his eyes at me. I smile. You guys are terrible. Kenji, I say, reaching out. Ew, don't touch me. Fine, I frown, crossing my arms. He shakes his head, looks away, makes a face and says, You know what? Whatever, he sighs. Did he at least tell you anything useful before you, changed the subject? We've just walked back into the reception area where we first met with Haider. Yes, he did, I say, determined. He knew exactly who I was talking about. And? We sit down on the couches, Kenji choosing to sit across from me this time, and I clear my throat. I wonder aloud if we should order more tea. No tea. Kenji leans back, legs crossed, right ankle propped up to his left knee. What did Warner say about Haider? Kenji's gaze is so focused and unforgiving, I'm not sure what to do with myself. I still feel weirdly embarrassed. I wish I'd remembered to tie my hair back again. I have to keep pushing it out of my face. I sit up straighter, pull myself together. He said they were never really friends. Kenji snorts. No surprise there. But he remembered him, I say, pointing at nothing in particular. And? What does he remember? Oh, I scratch an imaginary itch behind my ear. I don't know. You didn't ask? I forgot? Kenji rolls his eyes. Shit, man, I knew I should have gone myself. I sit on my hands and try to smile. Do you want to order some tea? No tea. Kenji shoots me a look. He taps the side of his leg, thinking. Do you want... Where is Warner now? Kenji cuts me off. I don't know, I say. I think he's still in his room. He had a bunch of boxes he wanted to sort through. Kenji is on his feet in an instant. He holds up one finger. I'll be right back. Wait, Kenji, I don't think that's a good idea. But he's already gone. I slump into the couch and sigh. As I suspected, not a good idea. Warner is standing stiffly beside my couch, hardly looking at Kenji. I think he still hasn't forgiven him for the terrible haircut, and I can't say I blame him. Warner looks different without his golden hair. Not bad, no, but different. His hair is barely half an inch long, one uniform length throughout, a shade of blonde that registers only dimly as a color now. But the most interesting change in his face is that he's got a soft, subtle shadow of stubble, as though he's forgotten to shave lately, and I'm surprised to find that it doesn't bother me. He's too naturally good-looking to have his genetics undone by a simple haircut, and the truth is, I kind of like it. I'd hesitate to say this to Warner, as I don't know whether he'd appreciate the unorthodox compliment. But there's something nice about the change. He looks a little coarser now, a little rougher around the edges. He's less beautiful, but somehow impossibly sexier. Short, uncomplicated hair, a 5 o'clock shadow, a deeply, deeply serious face. It works for him. He's wearing a soft navy blue sweater, the sleeves, as always, pushed up his forearms, and slim, black pants tucked into shiny black ankle boots. It's an effortless look, and right now he's leaning against a column, his arms crossed against his chest, feet crossed at the ankles, looking more sullen than usual, and I'm really kind of enjoying the view. Kenji, however, is not. The two of them look more irritated than ever, and I realize I'm to blame for the tension. I keep trying to force them to spend time together. I keep hoping that, with enough experience, Kenji will come to see what I love about Warner, and that Warner will learn to admire Kenji the way that I do. But it doesn't seem to be working. Forcing them to spend time together is beginning to backfire. So, I say, clapping my hands together, should we talk? Sure, Kenji says, but he's staring at the wall. Let's talk. No one talks. I tap Warner's knee. When he looks at me, I gesture for him to sit down. He does. Please, I whisper. Warner frowns. Finally, reluctantly, he sighs. You said you had questions for me? Yeah, first question, why are you such a dick? Warner stands up. Sweetheart, he says quietly, I hope you will forgive me for what I'm about to do to his face. Hey, asshole, I can still hear you. Okay, seriously, this has to stop. I'm tugging on Warner's arm, trying to get him to sit down, and he won't budge. My superhuman strength is totally useless on Warner. He just absorbs my power. Please, sit down, everyone, and you, I say, pointing at Kenji. You need to stop instigating fights. Kenji throws a hand in the air, making a sound of disbelief. Oh, so it's always my fault, huh? Whatever. No, I say heavily. It's not your fault. This is my fault. Kenji and Warner turn to look at me at the same time, surprised. This, I say, gesturing between them. I caused this. I'm sorry I ever asked you guys to be friends. You don't have to be friends. You don't even have to like each other. Forget I said anything. Warner drops his crossed arms. Kenji raises his eyebrows. I promise, I say. No more forced hangouts. No more spending time alone without me. Okay? You swear? Kenji says. I swear. Thank God, Warner says. Same, bro, same. And I roll my eyes, irritated. This is the first thing they've managed to agree on in over a week. Their mutual hatred of my hopes for their friendship. But at least Kenji is finally smiling. He sits down on the couch and seems to relax. Warner takes the seat next to me, still composed, but far less tense. And that's it. That's all it takes. The tension is gone. Now that they're free to hate each other, they seem perfectly friendly. I don't understand them at all. So, you have questions for me, Kishimoto? Warner says. Kenji nods, leans forward. Yeah, I want to know everything you remember about the Ibrahim family. We've got to be prepared for whatever Haider throws at us at dinner tonight, which... Kenji looks at his watch, frowns. Is in like 20 minutes, no thanks to you guys. But anyway, I'm wondering if you can tell us anything about his possible motivations. I'd like to be one step ahead of this dude. Warner nods. Hyder's family will take more time to unpack. As a whole, they're intimidating. But Hyder himself is far less complex. In fact, he's a strange choice for this situation. I'm surprised Ibrahim didn't send his daughter instead. Why? Warner shrugs. Hyder is less competent. He's self-righteous, spoiled, arrogant. Wait, are we describing you or Hyder? Warner doesn't seem to mind the jibe. You are misunderstanding a key difference between us, he says. It's true that I am confident, but Hyder is arrogant. We are not the same. Sounds like the same thing to me. Warner clasps his hands and sighs, looking for all the world like he's trying to be patient with a difficult child. Arrogance is false confidence, he says. It is born from insecurity. Hyder pretends to be unafraid. He pretends to be crueler than he is. He lies easily. That makes him unpredictable and in some ways a more dangerous opponent. But the majority of the time, his actions are inspired by fear. Warner looks up, looks Kenji in the eye. And that makes him weak. Huh. Okay. Kenji sinks further into the couch, processing. Anything particularly interesting about him? Anything we should be aware of? Not really. Hyder is mediocre at most things. He excels only occasionally. He's obsessed mainly with his physique and most talented with a sniper rifle. Kenji's head pops up. Obsessed with his physique, huh? You sure you two aren't related? At this, Warner's face sours. I am not obsessed with my... Okay, calm down. Kenji waves his hands around. No need to worry your pretty little face about it. I detest you. I love that we feel the same way about each other. All right, guys, I say loudly. Focus. We're having dinner with Hyder in like 5 minutes, and I seem to be the only one worried about this revelation that he's a super talented sniper? Yeah, maybe he's here for some, Kenji makes a finger gun motion at Warner and then at himself. Target practice. Warner shakes his head, still a little annoyed. Hyder is all show. I wouldn't worry about him. As I said, I would only worry if his sister were here, which means we should probably plan to worry very soon. He exhales. She will almost certainly be arriving next. At this, I raise my eyebrows. Is she really scary? Warner tilts his head. Not scary exactly, he says to me. She's very cerebral. So she's what? Says Kenji. Psycho? Not at all. But I've always been able to get a sense of people and their emotions, and I could never get a good read on her. I think her mind moves too quickly. There's something kind of flighty about the way she thinks. Like a hummingbird. He sighs, looks up. Anyhow, I haven't seen her in several months at least, but I doubt much about her has changed. Like a hummingbird? Says Kenji. So is she like a fast talker? No, says Warner. She's usually very quiet. Okay, well, I'm glad she's not here, Kenji says. Sounds boring. Warner almost smiles. She would disembowel you. Kenji rolls his eyes. And I'm just about to ask another question when a sudden, harsh ring interrupts the conversation. Delalu has come to collect us for dinner. Warner. I genuinely dislike being hugged. There are very few exceptions to this rule, and Hyder is not one of them. Even so, every time I see him, he insists on hugging me. He kisses the air on either side of my face, clamps his hands around my shoulders, and smiles at me like I am actually his friend. Ela Abibi Slona. It's so good to see you. I attempt a smile. Ani Zain Shukran. I nod at the table. Please, have a seat. Sure, he says and looks around. Wenra Nazarena. Oh, I say, surprised. I thought you came alone. La Habibi, he says as he sits down. Hiya Shwaya Mirakira, but she should be here any minute now. She was very excited to see you. I highly doubt that. I'm sorry, but am I the only one here who didn't know you speak Arabic? Kenji is staring at me, wide-eyed. Hyder laughs, eyes bright as he analyzes my face. Your new friends know so little about you. And then to Kenji, your Regent Warner speaks 7 languages. You speak 7 languages? Juliet says, touching my arm. Sometimes, I say quietly. It's a small group of us for dinner tonight. Juliet is sitting at the head of the table. I'm seated to her right. Kenji sits to the right of me. Across from me now sits Hyder Ibrahim. Across from Kenji is an empty chair. So, says Hyder, clapping his hands together. This is your new life. So much has changed since I saw you last. I pick up my fork. What are you doing here, Hyder? Voila, he says, clutching his chest. I thought you'd be happy to see me. I wanted to meet all your new friends, and of course, I had to meet your new Supreme Commander. He appraises Juliet out of the corner of his eye. The movement is so quick I almost miss it. And then he picks up his napkin, drapes it carefully across his lap, and says, very softly, Hiya Jidan Helwa. My chest tightens. And is that enough for you? He leans forward suddenly, speaking so quietly, only I can hear him. A pretty face, and you so easily betray your friends? If you've come here to fight, I say, please let's not bother eating dinner. Hyder laughs out loud, picks up his water glass. Not yet, Habibi. He takes a drink, sits back. There's always time for dinner. Where is your sister? I say, turning away. Why didn't you arrive together? Why don't you ask her yourself? I look up, surprised to find Nazira standing at the door. She studies the room, her eyes lingering on Juliet's face for a second longer than everyone else's, and takes her seat without a word. Everyone, this is Nazira, Hyder says, jumping to his feet with a wide smile. He wraps an arm around his sister's shoulder, even as she ignores him. She'll be here for the duration of my stay. I hope you will welcome her as warmly as you've welcomed me. Nazira does not say hello. Hyder's face is open, an exaggeration of happiness. Nazira, however, wears no expression at all. Her eyes are blank, her jaw solemn. The only similarities in these siblings are physical. She bears a remarkable resemblance to her brother. She has his warm brown skin, his light brown eyes, and the same long dark eyelashes that shut her expression from the rest of us. But she's grown up quite a bit since I last saw her. Her eyes are bigger, deeper than Hyder's, and she has a small diamond piercing centered just underneath her bottom lip. 2 more diamonds above her right eyebrow. The only other marked distinction between them is that I cannot see her hair. She wears a silk shawl around her head, and I can't help but be quietly shocked. This is new. The Nazira I remember did not cover her hair, and why would she? Her headscarf is a relic, a part of our past life. It's an artifact of a religion and culture that no longer exists under the reestablishment. Our movement, long ago, expunged all symbols and practices of faith or culture in an effort at resisting identities and allegiances. So much so that places of worship were among the first institutions around the world to be destroyed. Civilians, it was said, were to bow before the reestablishment and nothing else. Crosses, crescents, stars of David, turbans and yarmulkes, headscarves and nuns' habits, they're all illegal. And Nazira Ibrahim, the daughter of a supreme commander, has a staggering amount of nerve. Because this simple scarf and otherwise insubstantial detail is nothing less than an open act of rebellion. And I'm so stunned I almost can't help what I say next. You cover your hair now? At this, she looks up, meets my eyes. She takes a long sip of her tea and studies me, and then finally says nothing. I feel my face about to register surprise, and I have to force myself to be still. Clearly, she has no interest in discussing the subject. I decide to move on. I'm about to say something to Hyder when, "So, you don't think anyone will notice that you cover your hair?" It's Kenji, speaking and chewing at the same time. I touch my fingers to my lips and look away, fighting to hide my revulsion. Nazira stabs at a piece of lettuce on her plate. Eats it. "I mean, you have to know," Kenji says to her, still chewing, "that what you're wearing is an offense punishable by imprisonment." She seems surprised to find Kenji still pursuing the subject, her eyes appraising him like he might be an idiot. "I'm sorry," she says softly, putting down her fork. "But who are you exactly?" "Nazira," Hyder says, trying to smile as he shoots her a careful, sidelong glance. "Please remember that we are guests." "I didn't realize there was a dress code here." "Oh, well, I guess we don't have a dress code here," Kenji says between bites, oblivious to the tension. "But that's only because we have a new Supreme Commander who's not a psychopath. But it's illegal to dress like that," he says, gesturing at her face with his spoon. "Like literally everywhere else, right?" He looks around, but no one responds. "Isn't it?" he says to me, eager for confirmation. I nod slowly. Nazira takes another long drink from her tea, careful to replace the cup in its saucer before she leans back, looks us both in the eye and says, "What makes you think I care?" "I mean," Kenji frowns, "don't you have to care? Your dad is a Supreme Commander. Does he even know that you wear that thing?" Another abstract gesture at her head. "In public? Won't he be pissed?" This is not going well. Nazira, who just picked up her fork again to spear some bit of food on her plate, puts down her fork and sighs. Unlike her brother, she speaks perfectly unaccented English. She's looking only at Kenji when she says, "This thing?" "Sorry," he says sheepishly. "I don't know what it's called." She smiles at him, but there's no warmth in it, only a warning. "Men," she says, "are always so baffled by women's clothing. So many opinions about a body that does not belong to them. Cover up, Don't cover up. She waves a hand. No one can seem to decide. But that's not what Kenji tries to say. You know what I think? She says, still smiling. About someone telling me what's legal and illegal about the way I dress. She holds up 2 middle fingers. Kenji chokes. Go ahead, she says, her eyes flashing angrily as she picks up her fork again. Tell my dad. Alert the armies. I don't give a shit. Nazira. Shut up, Haider. Whoa, hey, I'm sorry, Kenji says suddenly, looking panicked. I didn't mean... Whatever, she says, rolling her eyes. I'm not hungry. She stands up suddenly, elegantly. There's something interesting about her anger, her unsubtle protest, and she's more impressive standing up. She has the same long legs and lean frame as her brother, and she carries herself with great pride, like someone who was born into position and privilege. She wears a gray tunic cut from fine, heavy fabric, skin-tight leather pants, heavy boots, and a set of glittering gold knuckles on both hands. And I'm not the only one staring. Juliet, who's been watching quietly this whole time, is looking up, amazed. I can practically see her thought process as she suddenly stiffens, glances down at her own outfit, and crosses her arms over her chest as if to hide her pink sweater from view. She's tugging at her sleeves as though she might tear them off. It's so adorable. I almost kiss her right then. A heavy, uncomfortable silence settles between us after Nazira's gone. We'd all been expecting an in-depth interrogation from Haider tonight. Instead, he pokes quietly at his food, looking tired and embarrassed. No amount of money or prestige can save any of us from the agony of awkward family dinners. Why'd you have to say anything? Kenji elbows me, and I flinch, surprised. Excuse me? This is your fault, he hisses, low and anxious. You shouldn't have said anything about her scarf. I asked one question, I say stiffly. You're the one who kept pushing. Yeah, but you started it. Why'd you even have to say anything? She's the daughter of a supreme commander, I say, fighting to keep my voice down. She knows better than anyone else that what she's wearing is illegal, under the laws of the reestablishment. Oh my God, Kenji says, shaking his head. Just stop, okay? How dare you? What are you two whispering about? Juliet says, leaning in. Just that your boyfriend doesn't know how to shut his mouth, Kenji says, scooping up another spoonful of food. You're the one who can't keep your mouth shut. I turn away. You can't even manage it while you're eating a bite of food, of all the disgusting things. Shut up, man, I'm hungry. I think I'll retire for the evening also, Haider says suddenly. He stands. We all look up. Of course, I say. I get to my feet to bid him a proper good night. Ani Asef, Haider says, looking down at his half-eaten dinner. I was hoping to have a more productive conversation with all of you this evening, but I'm afraid my sister is unhappy to be here. She didn't want to leave home. He sighs. But you know, Baba, he says to me. He gave her no choice. Haider shrugs, attempts a smile. She doesn't understand yet that what we do, the way we live now. He hesitates. It's the life we are given. None of us has a choice. And for the first time tonight, he surprises me. I see something in his eyes I recognize. A flicker of pain. The weight of responsibility. Expectation. I know too well what it is to be the son of a supreme commander of the reestablishment, and dare to disagree. Of course, I say to him. I understand. I really do. Juliet. Warner escorts Hyder back to his residence, and soon after they're gone, the rest of our party breaks apart. It was a weird, too short dinner with a lot of surprises, and my head hurts. I'm ready for bed. Kenji and I are making our way to Warner's room in silence, both of us lost in thought. It's Kenji who speaks first. So, you were pretty quiet tonight, he says. Yeah, I laugh, but there's no life to it. I'm exhausted, Kenji. It was a weird day and even a weirder night. Weird how? I don't know. How about we start with the fact that Warner speaks 7 languages? I look up, meet his eyes. I mean, what the hell? Sometimes I think I know him so well, and then something like this happens and it's just... I shake my head. Blows my mind. You were right, I say. I still know nothing about him. Plus, what am I even doing anymore? I didn't say anything at dinner because I have no idea what to say. Kenji blows out a breath. Yeah, well, 7 languages is pretty crazy, but I mean, you have to remember that he was born into this, you know? Warner's had schooling you've never had. That's exactly my point. Hey, you'll be okay, Kenji says, squeezing my shoulder. It's going to be okay. I was just starting to feel like maybe I could do this, I say to him. I just had this whole talk with Warner today that actually made me feel better, and now I can't even remember why. I sigh, close my eyes. I feel so stupid, Kenji. Every day I feel stupider. Maybe you're just getting old. Senile. He taps his head. You know? Shut up. So, he laughs. I know it was a weird night and everything, but what'd you think? Overall. Of what? I glance at him. Of Hyder and Nazira, he says. Thoughts, feelings, sociopaths, yes or no? Oh, I frown. I mean, they're so different from each other. Hyder is so loud, and Nazira is... I don't know, I've never met anyone like her before. I guess I respect that she's standing up to her dad in the reestablishment, but I have no idea what her real motivations are. So I'm not sure I should give her too much credit. I sigh. Anyway, she seems really angry. And really beautiful, and really intimidating. The painful truth is that I'd never felt so intimidated by another girl before, and I don't know how to admit that out loud. All day, and for the last couple of weeks, I've felt like an imposter. A child. I hate how easily I fade in and out of confidence, how I waver between who I was and who I could be. My past still clings to me, skeleton hands holding me back even as I push forward into the light. And I can't help but wonder how different I'd be today if I ever had someone to encourage me when I was growing up. I never had strong female role models. Meeting Azira tonight, seeing how tall and brave she was, made me wonder where she learned to be that way. It made me wish I'd had a sister, or a mother, someone to learn from and lean on. A woman to teach me how to be brave in this body among these men. I've never had that. Instead, I was raised on a steady diet of taunts and jeers, jabs at my heart, slaps in my face, told repeatedly I was worthless, a monster. Never loved, never protected from the world. Nazira doesn't seem to care at all what others think. And I wish so much that I had her confidence. I know I've changed a lot, that I've come a long way from who I used to be, but I want more than anything to just be confident and unapologetic about who I am and how I feel, and not have to try so hard all the time. I'm still working on that part of myself. Right, Kenji is saying. Yeah, pretty angry, but... Excuse me? At the sound of her voice, we both spin around. Speak of the devil, Kenji says under his breath. I'm sorry, I think I'm lost, Nazira says. I thought I knew this building pretty well, but there's a bunch of construction going on and it's throwing me off. Can either of you tell me how to get outside? She almost smiles. Oh, sure, I say, and almost smile back. Actually, I pause. I think you might be on the wrong side of the building. Do you remember which entrance you came in from? She stops to think. I think we're staying on the south side, she says, and flashes me a full, real smile for the first time, then falters. Wait, I think it was the south side. I'm sorry, she says, frowning. I just arrived a couple hours ago. Hyder got here before me. I totally understand, I say, cutting her off with a wave. Don't worry, it took me a while to navigate the construction too. Actually, you know what? Kenji knows his way around even better than I do. This is Kenji, by the way. I don't think you guys were formally introduced tonight. Yeah, hi, she says, her smile gone in an instant. I remember. Kenji is staring at her like an idiot. Eyes wide, blinking, lips parted ever so slightly. I poke his arm and he yelps, startled but comes back to life. Oh, right, he says quickly. Hi, sorry about dinner. She raises an eyebrow at him. And for the first time in all the time I've known him, Kenji actually blushes. Blushes. No, really, he says. I think your scarf is, really cool. Uh-huh. What's it made of? He says, reaching forward to touch her head. It looks so soft. She slaps his hand away, recoiling visibly, even in this dim light. What the hell? Are you serious right now? What? Kenji blinks, confused. What did I do? Nazira laughs, her expression a mixture of confusion and vague disgust. How are you so bad at this? Kenji freezes in place, his mouth agape. I just don't know, what the rules are, can I call you sometime, or... I laugh suddenly, loud and awkward, and pinch Kenji in the arm. Kenji swears out loud, shoots me an angry look. I plant a bright smile on my face and speak only to Nazira. So yeah, if you want to get to the south exit, I say quickly, your best bet is to go back down the hall and make 3 lefts. You'll see the double doors on the right. Just ask one of the soldiers to take you from there. Thanks, Nazira says, returning my smile before shooting a weird look in Kenji's direction. He's still massaging his injured shoulder as he waves her a weak goodbye. It's only after she's gone again that I finally spin around, hiss, What the hell is wrong with you? And Kenji grabs my arm, goes weak in the knees, and says, Oh my God, Jay, I think I'm in love. I ignore him. No, seriously, he says. Is this what that is? Because I've never been in love before, so I don't know if this is love or if I just have, food poisoning. You don't even know her, I say, rolling my eyes. So I'm guessing it's probably food poisoning. You think so? I glance up at him, eyes narrowed, but one look is all it takes to lose my thread of anger. His expression is so weird and silly, so slap happy, I almost feel bad for him. I sigh, shoving him forward. He keeps stopping in place for no reason. I don't know, I think maybe you're just, attracted to her? God, Kenji, you gave me so much crap for acting like this over Adam and Warner, and now here you are, being all hormonal. Whatever. You owe me. I frown at him. He shrugs, still beaming. I mean, I know she's probably a sociopath and, would definitely murder me in my sleep, but damn, wow, he says. She's batshit pretty. She's the kind of pretty that makes a man think getting murdered in his sleep might not be a bad way to go. Yeah, I say, but I say it quietly. Right? I guess. What do you mean, you guess? I wasn't asking a question. That girl is objectively beautiful. Sure. Kenji stops, takes my shoulders in his hands. What is your deal, Jay? I don't know what your... Oh my God, he says, stunned. Are you jealous? No, I say, but I practically yell the word at him. He's laughing now. That's crazy. Why are you jealous? I shrug, mumble something. Wait, what's that? He cups his hand over his ear. You're worried I'm gonna leave you for another woman? Shut up, Kenji. I'm not jealous. Oh, Jay. I'm not. I swear, I'm not jealous. I'm having a hard time. But I never have a chance to say the words. Kenji suddenly picks me up, spins me around and says, Oh, you're so cute when you're jealous. And I kick him in the knee. Hard. He drops me to the floor, grabs his leg, and shouts words so foul I don't even recognize half of them. I sprint away, half guilty, half pleased, his promises to kick my ass in the morning echo after me as I go. Warner. I've joined Juliet on her morning walk today. She seems deeply nervous now, more so than ever before, and I blame myself for not better preparing her for what she might face as Supreme Commander. She came back to her room last night in a panic, said something about wishing she spoke more languages, and then refused to talk about it. I feel like she's hiding from me. Or maybe I've been hiding from her. I've been so absorbed in my own head, in my own issues, that I haven't had much of a chance to speak with her, at length, about how she's been doing lately. Yesterday was the first time she'd ever brought up her worries about being a good leader, and it makes me wonder how long these fears have been wearing away at her. How long she's been bottling everything up. We have to find more time to talk this all through. But I worry we might both be drowning in revelations. I'm certain I am. My mind is still full of Castle's nonsense. I'm fairly certain he'll be proven misinformed, that he's misunderstood some crucial detail. Still, I'm desperate for real answers, and I haven't yet had a chance to go through my father's files. So I remain here, in this uncertain state. I'd been hoping to find some time today, but I don't trust Hyder and Nazira to be alone with Juliet. I gave her the space she needed when she first met Hyder, but leaving her alone with him now would just be irresponsible. Our visitors are here for all the wrong reasons, and likely looking for any reason to play cruel, mental Olympics with her emotions. I'd be surprised if they didn't want to terrify and confuse her, to bully her into cowardice. And I'm beginning to worry. There's so much Juliet doesn't know. I think I've not made enough of an effort to imagine how she must be feeling. I take too much for granted in this military life, and things that seem obvious to me are still brand new to her. I need to remember that. I need to tell her she has her own armory, that she has a fleet of private cars, a personal chauffeur, several private jets and pilots at her disposal. And then I wonder suddenly whether she's ever been on a plane. I stop, suspended in thought. Of course she hasn't. She has no recollection of a life lived anywhere but in Sector 45. I doubt she's ever gone for a swim, much less sailed on a ship in the middle of the ocean. She's never lived anywhere but in books and memories. There's still so much she has to learn, so much to overcome. And while I sympathize deeply with her struggles, I really do not envy her in this, the enormity of the task ahead. After all, there's a simple reason I never wanted the job of Supreme Commander myself. I never wanted the responsibility. It's a tremendous amount of work with far less freedom than one might expect. Worse, it's a position that requires a great deal of people skills, the kind of people skills that include both killing and charming a person at a moment's notice. Two things I detest. I tried to convince Juliet that she was perfectly capable of stepping into my father's shoes, but she doesn't seem at all persuaded. And with Hyder and Nazira now here, I understand why she seems more uncertain than ever. The two of them, well, it was only Hyder really, asked to join Juliet on her morning walk to the water this morning. She and Kenji had been discussing the matter under their breaths, but Hyder has sharper hearing than we suspected. So here we are, the five of us, walking along the beach in an awkward silence. Hyder and Juliet and I have unintentionally formed a group. Nazira and Kenji follow some paces behind. No one is speaking. Still, the beach isn't a terrible place to spend a morning, despite the strange stench arising from the water. It's actually rather peaceful. The sounds of the breaking waves make for a soothing backdrop against the otherwise already stressful day. So, Hyder finally says to me, will you be attending the Continental Symposium this year? Of course, I answer quietly. I will, as I always have. A pause. Will you be returning home to attend your own event? Unfortunately not. Nazira and I were hoping to accompany you to the North American arm, but of course, I wasn't sure if Supreme Commander Ferrars, he glances at Juliet, would be making an appearance, so... She leans in, eyes wide. I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Hyder frowns only a little in response, but I can feel the depth of his surprise. The Continental Symposium, he says. Surely you've heard of it? Juliet looks at me, confused, and then, oh, yes, of course, she says, remembering. I've gotten a bunch of letters about it. I didn't realize it was such a big deal. I have to fight the impulse to cringe. This was another oversight on my part. Juliet and I have talked briefly about the symposium, of course, but only briefly. It's a biannual congress of all 555 regents from across the continent, every sector leader gathered in one place. It's a massive production. Hyder tilts his head, studying her. Yes, it's a very big deal. Our father, he says, is busy preparing for the Asia event, so it's been on my mind quite a bit lately. But as the late Supreme Anderson never attended public gatherings, I wondered whether you would be following in his footsteps. Oh, no, I'll be there, Juliet says quickly. I'm not hiding from the world the way he did. Of course, I'll be there. Hyder's eyes widen slightly. He looks from me to her and back again. When is it, exactly? She says. and I feel Hyder's curiosity grow suddenly more intense.
You've not looked at your invitation?
He asks, all innocence.
The event is in 2 days.
She suddenly turns away, but not before I see that her cheeks are flushed. I can feel her sudden embarrassment, and it breaks my heart. I hate Hyder for toying with her like this. I've been very busy, she says quietly.
It's my fault,
I cut in.
I was supposed to follow up on the matter and I forgot, but we'll be finalizing the program today. Delalu is already hard at work arranging all the details.
Wonderful, Hyder says to me.
Nazira and I look forward to joining you. We've never been to a symposium outside of Asia before.
Of course, I say.
We'll be delighted to have you with us.
Hyder looks Juliet up and down, then, examining her outfit, her hair, her plain, worn tennis shoes, and though he says nothing, I can feel his disapproval, his skepticism, and ultimately his disappointment in her. It makes me want to throw him in the ocean.
What are your plans for the rest of your stay here?
I ask, watching him closely now. He shrugs, perfect nonchalance.
Our plans are fluid. We're only interested in spending time with all of you.
He glances at me.
Do old friends really need a reason to see each other?
And for a moment, the briefest moment, I sense genuine pain behind his words, a feeling of neglect. It surprises me, and then it's gone.
In any case,
Hyder is saying,
I believe Supreme Commander Ferrars has already received a number of letters from other friends. Though it seems their requests to visit were met with silence, I'm afraid they felt a bit left out when I told them Nazira and I were here.
What? Juliet says, glancing at me before looking back at Hyder. What other friends? Do you mean the other Supreme Commanders? Because I haven't.
Oh, no?
Hyder says.
No, not the other commanders. Not yet, anyway. Just the kids. We were hoping for a little reunion. We haven't gotten the whole group together in far too long.
The whole group, Juliet says softly. Then she frowns. How many more kids are there? Hyder's fake exuberance turns suddenly strange, cold. He looks at me with both anger and confusion when he says,
You've told her nothing about us.
Now Juliet is staring at me. Her eyes widen perceptibly. I can feel her fear spike, and I'm still trying to figure out how to tell her not to worry when Hyder clamps down on my arm, hard, and pulls me forward.
What are you doing?
He whispers, the words urgent, violent.
You turned your back on all of us for what? For this? For a child? Inta kulish Gabi, he says. So very, very stupid, and I promise you, Habibi, this won't end well.
There's a warning in his eyes. I feel it then when he suddenly lets go, when he unlocks a secret deep within his heart, and something awful settles into the pit of my stomach. A feeling of nausea, terrible dread. And I finally understand. The commanders are sending their children to do the groundwork here because they don't think it's worth their time to come themselves. They want their offspring to infiltrate and examine our base, to use their youth to appeal to the new, young Supreme Commander of North America, to fake camaraderie, and ultimately to send back information. They're not interested in forging alliances. They're only here to figure out how much work it will take to destroy us. I turn away, anger threatening to undo my composure, and Hyder clamps down harder on my arm. I meet his eyes. It's only my determination to keep things civil for Juliet's sake that prevents me from breaking his fingers off his body. Hurting Hyder would be enough to start a world war. And he knows this.
What's happened to you? He says, still hissing in my ear. I didn't believe it at first when I'd heard that you'd fallen in love with some idiot psychotic girl. I had more faith in you. I defended you, but this, he says, shaking his head. This is truly heartbreaking. I can't believe how much you've changed. My fingers tense, itching to form fists, and I'm just about to respond when Juliet, who's been watching us closely from a distance, says, "Let go of him." And there's something about the steadiness of her voice, something about the barely restrained fury in her words that captures Hyder's attention. He drops my arm, surprised, spins around. "Touch him one more time," Juliet says quietly, "and I will rip your heart out of your body." Hyder stares at her. "Excuse me?" She steps forward. She looks suddenly terrifying. There's a fire in her eyes, a murderous stillness in her movements. "If I ever catch you putting your hands on him again, I will tear open your chest," she says, "and rip out your heart." Hyder's eyebrows fly up his forehead. He blinks, hesitates, and then, "I didn't realize that was something you could do." "For you," she says, "I'd do it with pleasure." Now, Hyder smiles, laughs out loud, and for the first time since he's arrived, he looks sincere. His eyes crinkle with delight. "Would you mind," he says to her, "if I borrowed your Warner for a bit? I promise I won't put my hands on him. I'd just like to speak with him." She looks at me then, a question in her eyes. But I can only smile at her. I want to scoop her up and carry her away, take her somewhere quiet and lose myself in her. I love that the girl who blushes so easily in my arms is the same girl who would kill a man for hurting me. "I won't be long," I say. And she returns my smile, her face transformed once again. It lasts only a couple of seconds, but somehow time slows down enough for me to gather the many details of this moment and place it among my new favorite memories. I'm grateful, suddenly, for this unusual, supernatural gift I have for sensing emotions. It's still my secret, known only by a few, a secret I'd managed to keep from my father and from the other commanders and their children. I like how it makes me feel separate, different from the people I've always known. But best of all, it makes it possible for me to know how deeply Juliet loves me. I can always feel the rush of emotion in her words, in her eyes, the certainty that she would fight for me, protect me. And knowing this makes my heart feel so full that sometimes, when we're together, I can hardly breathe. I wonder if she knows that I would do anything for her.